Hello, and welcome to Shaheen and Erica's Shitshow Extravaganza. My name is Shaheen, and I still have the shits.
Hello, my name is Erica, and the MASH game I played today told me I'm gonna be a pro wrestler in Tokyo.
So we figured out Erica's future.
Oh yeah, can I also say something?
Yeah.
So last week when I did my introduction, I realized I
Mhm.
forgot a word. And I was like,
What was your statement last week?
domo ohayo gozaimasu, but I forgot konnichiwa. I was like, oh man.
Didn't you say Kambawa?
Yeah, because it's domo ohayo gozaimasu, konnichiwa, konbanwa, erika desu. All the
Why
greetings.
would they say konnichiwa and konbanwa?
You know what? I don't know. Japanese YouTubers.
I'm not Japanese. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a saying. It's the same. Like, hey guys, welcome to my channel. You know, you just say it because you can.
This is basically what they're saying. I guess they're saying hello, good morning, and good evening. I guess that makes sense if you're catering to an audience of different time zones. That makes sense. You want to make sure that you hit all time zones.
I don't think it's that deep, but yeah. So I messed up a word. I'm sorry. I'll do better as a future pro wrestler in Tokyo.
See, this is why we lost some of our Japanese subscribers.
I didn't even think we had any to begin with, so it's okay.
I think Miki subscribed, so we do have a Japanese market. Thank you, Miki. I think, yeah. Anyway, so what is our topic this week?
Adulting.
Adulting.
Did you hear the emotion in that? There was none.
Yeah, because adulthood kind of drains that out of you.
Yeah.
And then uses the drained water to
make Bibles.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So adulting, it's a process that Erica and I, at this point, should be well versed and deep into. When do you think adulting counts? Would you count it as right after high school, like 18 and up, once you're legal enough to drive?
Yeah. I feel or 18 to 21, where it should start feeling real. Ooh, oh no!
That's the trial. That's the.
I think when you graduate from college, I think that's when it starts. That's when it's like, okay, there's like really no one there to hold your hand. It's just you, buddy.
So that's why people stay longer in college sometimes.
Yep.
So it's not about the PhD. It's about the not wanting to figure things out later.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like it also differs in cultures, because when we asked the question on Instagram, or when we were considering the question, I was trying to think, like, what is the proper way of referring to adulthood in Arabic, for example? And the only way we say it is the same word for person who has gone through puberty and therefore is now an adult. So technically, by Arab standards, when you're 13, 14 years old, you should be, a little man, you know what I'm saying? Or a grown woman. And I mean, you see that in a lot of other contexts too, like how the woman that do decide to wear the hijab would be advised to do so after going through puberty and not before, as if to welcome them into adulthood. Like if you want to start doing stuff that are in relation to adults, you do that after that. So I guess it does differ from, and they still treat us like kids every now and then. It's just a different community, especially because it's smaller here with a more, I don't want to say involved government, but when you have less kids, you can kind of take care of them more, as opposed to those big, like the U.S., which is a large country. So I don't know why this was not a political podcast. I don't know why you went that direction, but I mean, I guess it differs from country to country or from culture to culture when truly is adulthood. But I personally didn't feel adulthood until college, especially because I studied abroad.
Yeah, living alone.
Yeah, I did have assistance from my father in the beginning with moving in and getting an apartment and furnishing. But when he left, and we mentioned this in the past, I had issues with friends and I was alone. It wasn't hard. It didn't feel hard. I think some of the things that were annoying to deal with as an adult were a lot of the finances. Now you have to consider paying your bills, which is really annoying. And I can't always do auto pay because I have to make sure that I have enough money. So I don't want to put auto pay and there goes my money out of nowhere. You know what I mean? I mean, there's a better argument to have auto pay, but whatever. I don't want it to bounce back. I think that's the issue. But sometimes you forget. There's so many times where I forgot to pay my rent on time, and I pay it like a day or two late, or if a lot of like annoying car situations where you have to re-register your car, but you can't do it online in the beginning, so you have to go pay yourself. And when you go to the DMV, it takes about 6 hours of your life. It's such a unnecessary, stressful situation. But yeah, that's for me. That's when I felt like it's the first part of adulthood. Now, graduate. The only issue is in Kuwait, it's not very common for people to move out of their homes unless they're married. Meaning that it's very normal for me post college, living with my parents, like that. Nobody bats an eye. That's the norm. That's what you're supposed to do. Might also have an issue with the fact that we're running out of land to just have random people living in place. A lot of families tend to build another floor on their house so that their kids and their families could use that as their apartment. But anyway, because of that, I'm still catered to with, home cooked meals or laundry or whatever. And the concept of adulthood here, for me at least, in terms of being independent and living alone, has been heavily reduced as opposed to when I was in college and all alone. That is my opening statement in regards to adulthood. What do you think?
Sometimes I wonder if I'm really an adult. I cry every day. I think I'm reverting back to being a baby, but I don't know. Because I feel like at this point, I thought I would have it all figured out and being an adult, but I just still feel like a naive college student who can't vote. I mean, I'm allowed to now, obviously, but I still feel the same way I did when I entered college. If that makes sense. I feel like it's just, I'm still figuring it out. But maybe that's what being an adult is about.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people shame people for going at their own pace and growing up. People grow differently. There's people who are, shoehorned into the lifestyle of independence and adulthood at a very young age, and therefore it becomes more natural when they reach that level that is appropriate for their age. But some people, it's not even a matter of, I still fucking wear a diaper, I need to get out of it. It's not even that. It's about adjusting to change. And I think people sometimes underestimate how terrifying change can be, even though it's commonly known to be that terrifying. It's something you're used to, one way of living, and now you're supposed to immediately acclimate to a new way of living. And that's not something that people are very fond of. I think, there's people that are adventurous and they want to live life differently every day, but we are creatures of habit, and we like to, and I think it's also, and I'm going to blame adults here. Adults when we were teens and kids. I think adults and the adult world through media and our own households can portray a very negative or very sad image of adulthood that makes people be afraid of growing up. You see, your parents, or you see other adults being stressed out and unhappy and arguing and things are just more stressful, more complicated for them, that you don't want that for yourself when you grow up, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And even, for example, so as a kid, when I was middle school, I'd say my goals in life were clear. I wanted to live the regular ass Kuwaiti life. I wanted to graduate from college in 4 years. Didn't happen. I wanted to graduate in business. Didn't happen. I wanted to work and take over my father's company. Kind of happened, but not in the right mindset. And I wanted to be married by the time I was 24, 25. I am 24, going 25 in a few months. Not even close to that either. And I think my experiences have shaped me to not wanting these things that I wanted as a kid, or putting more thought into them, considering when you're a kid, you're pretty fucking dumb. At some point, I wanted to be a pro wrestler. Yesterday, I stood up from the couch and my knee hurt. Like, how the fuck was I going to be a wrestler? Like, there's absolutely no reason for me to think that I could ever reach that kind of level of, yeah, I'll just get a concussion every week. Like, that's... Anyway, I digress. But my point is, even I think seeing a lot of, in terms of at least marriage, seeing a lot of, failed marriages and issues and arguments and a lot of regrets. And I get, like last week, I went to my uncle's house for dinner, or lunch, I mean. And one of my cousins / uncle, he's really old to be my cousin, but he's the status of my cousin, I guess. But he was saying, like, oh, when are you going to get married? And he keeps telling my mom, find him a girl. He keeps telling my other cousins, find him a girl. Like, I'm not in a rush to get married. And then he said, nah, if you get married now, you can blah, 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 blah. Like, he straight up said, like, don't you get a boner? I'm like, yeah, but I'm not, just because I got a boner, I'm like, I'll put a ring on it. Like, that's not how it works.
Oh, God.
And then my grandpa, same thing. My grandpa would say, every time he sees me, and I don't see him that often, I should work on that, but every time he sees me, he would mention marriage. And the man loves marriage. He's been married a couple of times. Apparently, when he was 17 or 16, he was like, I need a wife. I mean, Kuwait and the Arab world were in a different place back then. But, like, he's also divorced. I don't mean to put this information out there, but he's also divorced. And I'm like, what's the point? And he says, oh, it's better to get married early so that by the time you're 50 or 60, you can see your grandkids, or your kids don't, like, you won't be 50 and your kids just graduated college. Like, but what's wrong with that? What's wrong with taking things at your own pace? And I read a quote the other day, and it said, it's better to get married at 30 or past 30 or whatever, and as opposed to having a lifetime with someone that you're going to have regrets with.
I see.
Into a marriage podcast. Because if a marriage fails and you decide to stick together for the kids, it's going to fuck up the kids. If your marriage fails and you decide to get a divorce, it fucks up the kids. And when you fuck up those kids are going to have the same trust issues when it comes to marriage in the future. They're going to either choose to opt out from ever getting married, or if they get married, they're going to have the same distrust or the same mindset as their parents did, meaning this is not going to last. I'm probably going to get divorced, or I'm going to get bored of my wife, and we're going to just show them how disappointing or absolutely horrible it is to be married. So I feel like, especially because divorce rates are at an all-time high at this point, that kind of mentality, because I only mention this because marriage is very important in Arab and Kuwaiti culture. And you see a lot of people my age, some of them are still stuck in the mentality of the past, and they're already married with kids. And some of them, like a lot of my friends, are nowhere near getting married, mainly because I don't want to say they've been westernized, but they've been modernized in the sense that they don't want to put themselves in a position where they prioritize them getting, sex over their entire future.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. That was a lot of specific one topic about adults. So
that was a full-on discourse.
Yeah. You want to bring it back?
Media, as he was saying. Somehow went somewhere else, but yeah. So I think my interpretations of what being an adult is like came from like I don't know, like I think about my teachers like when I was a kid, like I'm like talking about like first to third grade. I had really young teachers who were probably my age when they started teaching, and I'm like, oh my god, do you think they binge drink on the weekend and had to come in hungover? Like I thought about that shit. I'm like, huh. Like it's just crazy how you could be a working adult and still be really immature. You know, I don't know. It's crazy. Like I just feel like age is like the way you should act based on your age is just a construct, and it doesn't matter because you know some people are still gonna be dumb regardless.
Yeah, and also, why do we have to be sticklers when we're adults? Why do we have to be the type that you have to act a certain way or do it? Like, fuck that, dude. Like, I'll be okay. This is not gonna be another heavy whatever. I'll try to make this short and sweet. So, uh, I got my first gaming console when I was 3 years old, and that's very young.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really good at video games for the first half of my life. And then, we're constantly taught that video games will never reap any success in the future. It's a waste of time. It makes you aggressive, and all these negative things that have been proven wrong. Of course, any type of addiction, even gaming addiction, is bad. But
yeah,
the fact that I was forced to believe that gaming would never be successful. There's people playing games now making millions of dollars. And now I have early signs of Parkinson's. I can't even hold a controller without shaking too. Like it's so dumb that they taught me to be a certain way when the future proved them completely wrong.
damn.
So things will always change. You don't have to be whatever dictates some like being a kid or an adult in terms of personality. That is definitely a construct. There are times to be formal. Yes, I agree, but never change who your natural personality is to yourself and the people that you're close to. But if you're trying to get a job, don't walk in with your pajamas and
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, like there's boundaries here and there. But yeah, that's another discourse. But
Yeah. Actually,
yeah.
I think what my biggest fear is like becoming adult is like, oh, I'm not gonna like the things I liked when I was in high school. You know, like I'm gonna be a different person. Like I'm not, like I'm not gonna have fun. Fun's not gonna be in my vocabulary.
Yeah.
But then you look at me now, and I'm like, damn, I still watch anime. I still read manga. I think like the biggest thing is like not now, obviously, because I'm still young, but like when I'm 40, for example, I don't think I'm gonna be reading webtoons, you know, or I'm not gonna be watching anime, and I'm like, I don't know, like that makes me like really sad to know that at some point these hobbies die out, and I'm like, what am I gonna do? Go bird watching?
Ooh, my favorite.
You know, it's just I think that being a young adult, like I want to say, um, it's just being like a teenager, but being like a real, I don't even know, like real adult, where you know you finally understand why people like chess or some shit like that. Why everyone wants, I don't know, to watch like some movie and we're like, oh yeah, so thought provoking. You can finally watch Passion of the Christ or something. I don't know. But yeah, so I think I'm just like I think I worry more so that I'm gonna lose the ability to laugh and have fun because being an adult seems so cynical.
I think that's definitely just a stereotype. Like it's not. I think I would still always be able to enjoy things like anime, manga, professional wrestling until the day I die. Is what I believe. I could change. Like I briefly left wrestling for 5 years, but now I'm back into it deeper and with a different understand, a more mature understanding of wrestling, which makes me appreciate it more.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like the things that for example, what normalizes enjoying these hobbies is being in a community or being around friends that are also indulging in these things. I feel like once your friends or everyone kind of moves away from these things, you feel discouraged from holding on to them. So if, for example, let's say I read manga and in 20, 30 years, you, if we're still in touch, hopefully, season 300, if you still read manga, I'm not going to feel ashamed for enjoying manga.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it builds off of that community. There's no shame in enjoying reading or watching. Like Adventure Time. I know I didn't think I was going to mention it, but then you mentioned it before the podcast. But Adventure Time is a Cartoon Network show made for kids. It's not even on Adult Swim. It's made for kids, but it's not really made for kids. It's safe for kids to watch, but I watch the whole thing right now in my current age, and I had so many emotions watching the whole thing. It's such a brilliant and wonderful woven tale that is so simple that a kid can enjoy the colorful and the funny characters, but they won't appreciate a lot of the intricate relations between the characters or their backstories. It's something that you can only enjoy over time. So that's something that I don't like, is people preventing themselves from enjoying something just because there's an age limit on them. Now, if you're finding some kind of slippery slope to pedophilia, don't look for it here, because that's not what I mean. I meant like enjoying children's video games, or video games that are, PG. Like Team Sonic Racing is for kids, but we had way too much fun for adults playing it, and that's fine. You don't have to. When the age, like when it gets up, when you're a teenager, does not mean you can only play teenage, or you can only watch teenage-based stuff. When you're an adult, it doesn't mean that's it. I can only watch rated R stuff. I can never enjoy anything made for a younger audience. That's so stupid and dumb. In fact, these things are made so that they can connect generations. I hope that my kids don't come out being lame so that we can watch anime together, or we can play video games together, or we can watch wrestling if WWE still stays PG around that time. Like these things, I hope I'm not going to force them, but if they enjoy it, I will share that time with them. It's something I definitely like doing with friends and family. Especially because my family, my direct family right here, right now, I share little to no things with them. None of them watch anime. None of them watch wrestling. None of them play. Okay, one of my brother-in-laws plays video games, but he plays like way too hardcore video game stuff. But there's not much I can share with, as opposed to my San Diego family, where we share so many things in common and we can enjoy things together. And my friends here that aren't my family, like my friends, a lot of them enjoy stuff. Like even when I first started, like I'm not a hardcore K-pop fan. I enjoy like one or two groups, but I'm not gonna say like, oh, I know everything. Like, I don't, I just think it's a bop. So thinking, I didn't even have a chance to think it's weird, because one of my first hangouts here in Kuwait with my friends, they just started putting like, I think, Blackpink and just rocking out to it. I'm like, what's happening? So I'm like, it's normal here in a country that I didn't even expect K-pop to be big. They play K-pop in restaurants, Italian restaurants. There's no KFC was playing Momoland. Like there's no, it was weird. But yeah, it's like this very lonely. I think it's the Filipinos, honestly. But anyway, it's the fact that these things that there's no such thing as an age restriction for pure entertainment that there's nothing wrong with. Or shut up, my laptop made a sound. But things that you can enjoy regardless. There's no moral dilemma in regards to it. If you enjoy something that's kind of pedophilic or kind of weird or kind of illegal, like we're drawing the line there. But if it's harmless and it's fun and you're not hurting anyone and you're still taking care of your adult responsibilities of providing and working, there should be absolutely no problem for you to enjoy anything out there that is not, as I said, immoral.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Fuck those people that are lame and don't want to do anything fun. Yeah. And sometimes they just need a chance to open up. My father can be a stickler by not enjoying stuff, but he loves movies, so we end up watching a lot of movies, from Joker to Good Boys. All of it was funny. He even watched wrestling with me, and he started like doing a little bit of research on the side on his own because he was so interested in this whole AEW WWE thing. I'm like, you got to give people a little bit of a chance. I know they want to have fun. They were taught not to have fun, or they think it's too childish. That's dumb. People are dumb. We're dumb. Everyone's dumb.
Yeah, nothing matters.
Yeah, nothing
This
matters.
is where
We're
the
all gonna die.
nihilism comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just gonna die.
You can't change it. Just have fun.
Whether you're a kid or an
Have
adult,
fun
you're
and be
gonna
responsible
die.
and don't hurt others. Yeah. Life's a bitch and then you die. Is that what you said?
Well, yeah, life's a bitch and then you die.
Yeah,
Who
life's a
said
bitch
that?
and then you die.
That was also Gandhi.
Well, first time I heard it was Vince McMahon.
Oh, really? I feel like I heard
Bailey
that from
said it.
Really?
I'm pretty sure Vince McMahon stole it from someone, but first time I heard that quote was Vince McMahon in the 90s when he said, "Life's a bitch and then you die."
I feel like that's from a movie.
Yeah, probably. But yeah. Also, here's some positive things for a change, as opposed to hating on everything that is beyond 21 and up. I say 21 because 18 until 21, you're kind of learning. You kind of begin to interpret things differently. And I think this, for example, this is, for me, I was in San Diego State. I lived in San Diego for 5 years. I had a close group of friends. And then I visited twice after I graduated college. My last visit being a few months ago. And on my way back, I was watching Toy Story 4 on the airplane. And when I was watching the movie, if you guys haven't seen the movie, and do you care for spoilers? Have you seen the movie?
I haven't, but I don't care for spoilers.
Yeah, I think the movie did not generate the amount of success or attention that the original trilogy did. But anyway, I was watching the movie, and in the movie, if you don't want spoilers, move to like 2 minutes from now. In the movie, Woody wants to help and wants to provide that kind of assistance, that kind of whatever, because he's used to that. He's used to watching over Andy, and he is no longer needed. They can handle things on their own, and he feels like there's no more purpose for him there. And therefore, towards the end of the movie, he reunites with what's her name? The sheep lady?
Bo Peep.
But why did I think Bebop? And I'm like, that's Cowboy. No. Yeah, Bo Peep. I mean, it's close enough. But Bo Peep, he reunites with her, and they stay in this weird carnival area. And he says goodbye to Buzz Lightyear and Jesse and all the gang, and it's really heartfelt. And I'm like, if a kid was watching this, movie, he'd feel sad because Woody and Buzz and all the other guys, they're gonna part ways. Mm-hmm. And that's sad in of its own. But when I was watching it, not only was I sad for them, I was also sad because I could, to a certain extent, relate to it. Is that I am losing my touch in, for example, JSA. And that people, although, I mean, I don't know if they need me or not, but I cannot do the things that I once could do to assist due to, me having to move on. And my purpose there is almost completely out. So, and this was literally as I was saying goodbye. This is my final big trip to San Diego. Every other time would be either for my brother's graduation or whatever is needed. But this is my last, a month and a half I'm going to visit trip for the meantime. And I feel like it was such a good representation of that. And I could relate to it differently. And I could only relate to it because, like the characters in the movie where they've had years to know each other, I also have years of relationships that I've built and a home that I've had, and now I have to part ways with it and find a new purpose in life and a new place where I could, be useful. And that's how I related to a children's movie of all things. I mean, then again, Pixar has some magic with how they write scripts, but either way.
Well, yeah, it's that too. And so Toy Story 3, when it came out, it was about the year that most people that grew up watching Toy Story, the first one. Like, they were already of age,
Hmm.
like, they're graduating from high school and going to college. So it was like a send off film for them. So, and then sense of like, oh, departure and stuff. So I think, I mean, like, it's obviously made by adults. So adults have to, somehow relate to it. So of course they're not going to be
Hmm.
like, oh yeah, let's fuck this up because children don't give a shit. It's like, no, like, it means something to them, even if they know their target audience is 2 year, not 2 years, twice as young as they are.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit more than twice, but yeah, I get it.
Something,
Um,
I don't know. Everyone's 20. Like,
really, I thought it was like 40 and up.
no,
Working
no,
on it.
1999. No, 1990 was still 20 years ago.
Oh, you're talking about the audience. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
right.
yeah,
You're right.
yeah. Or,
I mean, yeah, and that's
yeah.
that's that's the beauty of the story is that it is isolated as a story itself. You, as a viewer, can be sad or feel something because the story itself tells or represents a certain dynamic about growing up and letting go and moving on. For those characters, you can feel sad for them. Okay. But to be an adult or to be someone who understands and not only see that, but also feel it for yourself and what you've been through, and you can relate to it. Like, I'm not going to, it's like when we were watching, what's it called? With Karina,
Oh, Midsommar.
Midsummer. Yeah. Isn't it just Midsummer? And why are we, anyway, it's that movie. It's that weird, white people crazy movie. Erica and I watched it and we more or less enjoyed it. But Karina took a whole, like, she understood the movie differently than at least me. I don't know, Erica, are you on the same boat as me?
Yeah, dude, I was like, why are you crying? I don't understand.
Yeah, but Karina was bawling her eyes out because she related to the movie differently through her own experiences. Turns out she was right because that's what the director was aiming for.
Yeah, it's just like
And
a breakup movie. I didn't know that.
yeah, we're just dumb, or because we didn't experience that kind of heartbreak to that extent.
Hmm.
And it's something that she experienced and she related to, and that's a sign of adulthood. Someone who's been through something and was able to not only feel bad or feel, because we didn't feel bad for the character because that bitch was crazy and killed people, but
No.
um, Karina did, and that's only because of her adult experiences that linked her to that. And I think that's also a sign of adulthood. If a kid watches that, first of all, a kid shouldn't be watching that movie because there's a lot of
Oh, that
rated
one.
R content.
Yeah.
Um, but if a kid were to watch that movie, they would not be able to relate. I mean, like us, would not be able to relate to the big final kind of connection to the main character as Karina did.
Yeah.
So I think maturity has a huge impact on how you interpret media, books, stories, characters. Seeing a character like Sex Education on Netflix.
Hmm.
There were so many times where I could relate to a character who, for example, I would relate to one of the gay characters. And I'm like, and it's about like their character development is around them coming out or whatever. I'm not gay, but I could, to a certain extent, feel that kind of being trapped or being unable to say how you feel about certain things. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
You can still relate to things that aren't directly relevant to your life through a character's emotions and how they describe what they're feeling, what they're going through. And I was just feeling it. My heart was about to explode in certain scenes in the last two episodes of the second season. This episode has been sponsored by Sex Education on Netflix. But yeah, that's my point. Is there's so much you can learn about yourself simply by watching or listening or just enjoying something as a movie or a story or whatever, and you can figure out more things about yourself you didn't know. That's how you felt. That's how you. It's as if they're representing the shrouded feelings in your heart, and it's being represented in that form where you're like, man, yeah, that's pretty accurate to how I feel,
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, I think I talked too much. I also ran out of water, so I don't want to use up the last of my saliva.
There's no oasis near you.
Yeah, I'm in the. By the way, I record every episode smack dab in the middle of the Kuwaiti desert. So,
Sandland.
for Sandland, for
But
authenticity, this is where I am.
yeah, being an adult, I think there's obviously nice things about it, and there's not so nice things
Shitty
about it.
things about it.
Um, Many of you, I'm transitioning now. Many of you have said that. We asked you guys, what is the best and worst things? And I'm gonna go and share mine right now because
Mhm.
obviously. So the person, oh, actually, let me pull it up because I want to read it word for word. But it was basically talking about mm, learning that you don't have to take nonsense from anyone anymore. So that's my whole mantra in life. I'm allowed to put up with what I want to put up with. And just a fun tidbit, because I have a friend I know, and like she's in a position where she's surrounded by shitty people. And I don't think it has occurred to her that she has the power to drop them as friends. And I tell her, like, you are the master of your own fate, call it what you will. But she's like, but if I do that, I'll be lonely. And I'm like, okay, but like, you need to understand what's the point if they make you feel like crap. Like, like you may feel lonely, but like, you shouldn't subject yourself to shittiness, especially, I don't know. I think it's just me just realizing I'm my own person. I'm an adult. I can do what the fuck I want. And if I want to eat Oreos before my dinner, I'll do it because I don't give a shit what anyone else thinks. Word to your
Yeah,
mom. That's it.
yeah. I mean, I feel the same way too. But I'm still kind of getting used to that kind of power where, yeah, I don't really need to ask for permission anymore. I don't really need to please anyone but myself at this point until I obviously when I become a family man.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't want to also hurt anyone that is close to me, but at the same time, they got to understand that if I'm not hurting you or anything, I'm quite allowed to do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Uh, so what if I wanted to pursue a career in alligator wrestling? That's something that I want to do, and you can't stop me. Um, but yeah, the Florida Championship League is still looking for contenders. Anyway,
Are you a recruiter or something?
this is what I've been working on. Um, the one that I chose is after we asked that question. I'm assuming this is the worst part of adulting and not the good one, because the person said realizing how much car repairs. Just throughout college, there's been times in which my car was like I could something happened, and when I was trying to fix it, or there was like whenever there's an issue with my car, it would never be the price that you think it was. It's like the price that you thought it was, and then you multiply it by 10. Like that's what it that's what it felt like every time. It's like, yeah, someone sneezed on my car. They're like, oh, this is gonna be like $2,000. I'm like, what do you mean?
Oh
I
man.
wasn't even asking for it to be fixed. I'm just telling you what happened. Um, it's so dumb how expensive things are. I think Albert's the only one that kind of figured things out and he learned how to repair things himself in certain aspects.
Mm.
Like that's the way to go, honestly, Albert. Good job. But otherwise, like fuck, I hate it. That's why I'm I'm still not careful. But insurance, guys, get insurance if it's something that is out of your hands. This episode has been brought to you by Geico. You can get 15% or more on car insurance.
Well, actually, in the state of California, you're required to have car insurance. So,
Hey, it can suck my ass. I went through years of insurance.
well, I'm just saying. Like you're
I am an
supposed to.
outlaw.
Yeah. Okay. Well, for California residents, they have to have
I'm
car
Cowboy
insurance.
Bebop. That's what I am.
I'm just
Can't stop an
saying.
outlaw
I'm
like
just
me.
saying. Tickets become more expensive if you don't have car insurance. So you
That
need to
is
get
true.
it.
Not only tickets, everything is more expensive. Literally everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I recommend getting car insurance.
You have to.
I agree that it wasn't smart what I did. It's just very hard to maintain a lot of the adult stuff when you don't exactly when you're not used to it, and then you start doing it in a different country. Anyway,
Yeah, you can be an adult and
shit.
just not be responsible.
Yeah, no, I know, but I'm saying like even now, when coming back to Kuwait, there's different rules and different ways of handling things. So if I come here, I'm like, yeah, I did this in the States. I know how to fix this, and I go and I'm like, hold up, what's happening? Like, there's a completely different process here that doesn't work there, and it feels very primitive at times. Like some things you can only handle, like things that you could do online easily. Like, oh, I need to do this, boop, 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 done. Here you have to go to 6 different offices, and you have to bring a sacrificial goat. Like you don't understand how annoying it can be when you're trying to just, I don't know, get your civil ID. I don't know, something dumb like that. Rant over. I promise. Should we wrap it up?
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for listening to this week's episode. We hope that you have been enlightened or depressed by what we said. Please share your thoughts and your comments and anything else down in the comments below. We always like reading them, considering we only get like 1 or 2 per 6 videos. Blessed be the day that we get at least 3. But thank you, and here is your reward for suffering through with us. Okay, well, that's